Hi, Eva. Oh, well, I have to thank you. It says that. No, I'm stopping on, I think it's going to be on hiatus, starting June 1st. Hey, Betty. Betty's is on their Zoom. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's June 1st. That's when I'm stopping. Okay, I gotta teach Talmud now. You might want to join us on the Zoom call, or you can watch it on streaming. Okay, I'm on right now, so I better go. Okay, Eva, good to hear your voice. Okay, bye bye. Hey, Betty, how are you? Oh, you gotta unmute. Can you unmute?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I did.
How's it going?
All right.
Oh, and Marilyn is joining us too.
Tomorrow's a big day for my second vaccine.
Oh, the second. Oh, you're going to be all vaxxed out and ready to go. You can go anywhere. You still got to be a little careful, but you can go anywhere.
Right.
Do what you want to do.
Right.
Hang out with who you want to hang out with. Hey, Marilyn, how are you?
I'm doing the best I can. I haven't gone to many places. I had the vaccine. I hear you talking. Betty, you getting your
Hi,
vaccine?
Marilyn. Yeah, tomorrow.
That's very good.
Second.
But Rabbi, do you feel safe after getting the vaccine? I'm still a chicken.
I feel safe. I still wear my mask when I'm in a crowd. I still keep the social distancing. But when I'm with other people who have had the
Vaccine, then we feel safer.
I take my mask off. I hug them. I've been hugging people.
You do? Oh,
Yeah.
boy, that's something I haven't had in a year.
I have no compunction about doing that. According to, I follow what Dr. Fauci says in the CDC. And Dr. Fauci says, if you're with your friends and you've all been vaccinated, then you can be in the same room without masks. So we're opening
All right,
up.
that sounds good. That sounds good, but I will not be at the services. I'm sorry. I will watch
Okay,
you.
well,
and stream it.
you got to use your own discretion, and we know you will be joining us the best way that you can. Yeah. So, how is everyone
How are
doing?
you and your family, Rabbi? More important, everybody's good in your family?
Everybody's well, thank you. Everybody's well, thank you. And so I'm back from North Carolina, and it was really wonderful to be just to be out of state a little bit. It was a long drive, but I spent some time with the grandchildren, and it was a great joy. I had all three of my grandchildren together in one place, and it was fun. So let's begin our class. I don't have a lot to say, but I think it's an interesting. What do you call it? I'm gonna have to open it up. I think it's an interesting passage today. No, that's not the one I want. This is the one I want. I got to open it up, and I will share it with you momentarily. Okay, so Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. So we just had Passover, 3 weeks ago? And, there are different customs. Different. There is a question that I've asked myself for years. I'm Ashkenazic, right? I follow the Ashkenazic minhag, the Ashkenazic tradition. But there are Sephardic and Mizrahic Jews in the world, and they have some different kinds of customs. Where is Mati from? Where is his family from, Marilyn?
His family is Aden, and I believe they were in North Africa. What is that, Morocco?
Oh, Morocco. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he would
He is
probably
Sephardic.
identify as Sephardic.
Right.
Now, on Passover, we Ashkenazic Jews don't eat rice because it's considered a grain, right? Our rabbis said, no, it's too much. Like, you could make a bread out of it if you grind it up and bake it. You can make a bit of a bread out of it. Then we should stay away from other grain. Just wheat with a little water, bake it within 18 minutes. You got your matzah, enough. Now, I have never attended a Sephardic Seder. I've been in Sephardic homes to celebrate Shabbat, but never the Passover Seder. And the Sephardic rabbis declared that it was okay to use rice, to eat rice. Okay? And I've thought over the years, one day it could happen that I would be invited and I'm available, and I might be available to attend a Sephardic Seder. I've never eaten rice on Passover for my whole life, never done it. So what happens? Here I am, an Ashkenazic Jew, at the Seder, maybe hosted by someone like Mati, and they've prepared this wonderful meal, and they're gracious hosts, and they place in front of me some brisket and some Brussels sprouts and a pile of rice. Ooh, what do? I don't want to offend my hosts, right? They're so lovely. It's a different custom, but I'm not used to eating rice. And the portion that we're going to look at, today, Pesachim, a Pesach, is Passover. Pesachim is a plural, and it deals with that very matter. So I thought we would take a look at it. It answers my dilemma. What do I do in a Sephardic home when, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Make it
gonna
bigger. Make it a little
I'm
bigger.
gonna make it bigger. Is that big enough?
No, you made it smaller.
Made it
Oh,
small.
well, I'm gonna make it bigger. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah, that's better.
Mhm.
Betty,
Okay.
good for you.
Yes, I can see it. Yes.
Here we go. Mishnah 1 of Pesachim, chapter 4, in the Talmud. Now, where the custom is to do work until midday on the day before Passover, they may do so. Where the custom is not to work on that day, they may not work. Now, if a man went from a place where work was permitted to a place where it was not permitted, or from a place where it was not, where it was not to a place where it was, he must follow the strictest rule. But let no man behave differently than would be acceptable where he now is, lest it lead to conflict. Okay, so here I am. It's Passover. My Marilyn and I are in Rabat, Morocco, and people who are distant cousins of Mati befriend us and invite us to a Seder. We go to the Seder, and they serve us rice. According to this, what should we do? Should we eat it or not eat it?
Eat it.
Eat it. Exactly. It says eat it. Don't be an ungracious guest. Now we go to Mishnah 4, where the custom is to eat roast lamb on the night of Passover, they may eat so. Where the custom is not to eat it, roasted, they may not eat it so. So some places they eat roasted lamb. A lot of places they don't. In Poland, we didn't eat roasted lamb on Passover, but they do in some Sephardic countries. So if you were a Sephardic Jew, you were visiting Poland, and you're used to
Lamb.
roasted lamb. You don't bring it to the table of an Ashkenazi household, because in that place, they don't do that. You follow the custom of where you are. Now we go to Mishnah 5, where the custom is to work on the 9th day of Av, they may do so. Where the custom is not to work, they may not work. Now, the 9th day of Av usually falls it always falls in the summer, in July or August. The 9th day of Av, when we commemorate the destruction of the first and the second temples in Jerusalem, as well as a number of other sad occasions in Jewish history. Now, in some places, they do not work. You don't work on Tisha B'Av. In some places, they do, right? Some places, they may be a little bit more reformed, and they work. Now, you're supposed to fast on Tisha B'Av. It might be a little bit hard to work, but if you're in a place where people do keep their shops open, you may. You will go to the synagogue sometime and hear the Book of Lamentations read, and you'll probably fast. But if you have to keep your shop open, you do so. So what do we have here? What's your impression of this passage? What do you think, Betty? What do you come away with this passage?
Well, let me think about it. Let Marilyn respond.
Okay, Marilyn, what do you come away with from this portion, or from the
Okay, I
passage?
unmuted myself.
Okay, what do you
It seems
think?
to me that wherever you are, you recognize the custom of the people that you are visiting.
Yes,
That is more appropriate, not to insult your person who invited you.
yeah. Now, are there limits to that? Are there limits to that? Now, this is presumably you're visiting another Jewish family or a Jewish community. What if they served pork? Would you eat that?
Well, it depends if I am normally kosher or I'm normally not kosher. What is my tradition, pardon me?
Okay, would that be a line that, and there would be some, Jewish people who are kind of clueless, or maybe they're defiant of Jewish tradition, and they might do that. What would you do?
You're talking to me?
Yeah,
Well, for whatever reasons, I grew up in a kosher home, but I am not kosher now. Forgive me.
okay,
So-
you would eat it.
But I know people who are kosher, and if they were in that situation, they would just eat the salad or the vegetables and not eat the pork.
I would be in that category myself.
People. But the reform permit people to be non-kosher? Is that a big sin, Rabbi? I don't know.
Well,
doing
it's
it for many
it's a
years
matter
now.
of custom for us. It's not as binding. Not all of the rules of kashrut are so binding to us, but it's a matter of a spiritual connection with the Torah and the Jewish people. It's a matter of religious discipline, and you find Reformed Jews keep all sorts of levels of kashrut. There are some Reformed Jews who keep kosher. There's some who keep a kosher home and they eat whatever they want outside. There are some who
Right.
keep kosher style. There's a lot of Reform Jews who go, well, I'm not going to have the two sets of dishes. I'm not going to be too particular if my steak or my chicken has an OU on it. I will eat chicken or beef steak, but I'm not going to eat pork. I'm not going to eat shellfish. Then you have some Reform Jews who are vegetarian, right? And they solve it that way. So,
I have something funny to say. I
okay,
grew up, as I said, in a kosher home. We had two sets of dishes. And then when it came for Passover, my mother had two more sets of dishes. I mean, it was
yeah,
wild
yeah,
how many dishes we had.
yeah,
But the
I know.
bottom line is, on Sundays, if we wanted Chinese food, my mother would take out the paper plates and we could have spare ribs, if you've ever heard of that mention.
Sure.
And to this day, I still love spare ribs. But, you know, if I am not kosher, generally, it doesn't apply to me with paper plates. But we had the Chinese food on paper plates. So it depends on your family, I guess. And if
I think
there are
it
many
does too.
variations, then
Yeah.
it's acceptable.
Yeah. Again, I would eat the rice, on Passover in a Sephardic home. I wouldn't serve it in my home, but I certainly would partake of it in a Sephardic home. But if I were in a home where people were serving bacon or ham, or lobster, I personally would pass on that. And I guess we draw the line at different places. But something is interesting here. We see that the Talmud is very tolerant of a wide variety of customs. There wasn't one way to do things, as some Orthodox people might imply. You know what my grandfather used to say?
Mhm.
He said, when in Rome, do as the Romanians.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a laugh here. When in Rome, do as the Romanians. He was Romanian. Okay. When in Rome, do as the Romans. He'd said, when in Rome, do as the Romanians. Okay. Let's see. Betty, would you read that passage that comes under the line?
It's under the Mishnah 5. It's a little small to read there. Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Let me see if I can do
It's
that.
it's just sort of a strain to read it.
Okay, well, we don't want your eyes to get strained. I can make it a little bigger.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
That's good.
Yeah. Even in the time of the sages of the Mishnah, generally the 1st and 2nd centuries CE, the Jews were spread over such of the known world. They all followed the same law, but with time and distance, many customs changed. Even within the land of Israel, the Jews of
Tiberius.
Tiberius did some things differently from the Jews of Beersheba. The Jews who lived among the Persians for several centuries certainly developed different customs from those who lived in Egypt for 7 or 8 centuries. Shall I go on?
Yeah. So here you go. You've got different customs. You know what you do if you're an Iraqi family? This is a custom, and I learned it. I actually did it with my kids. Iraqi families will have for their karpas, their green vegetable on the Seder plate, they'll have long leaves of lettuce. And you know what they do? They have fun. At a certain point in the service, everybody gets a piece of these long leaves of lettuce, and they hit each other with it. They don't hurt each other, obviously. It's kind of, they go, hey, this is what happened to us in Egypt. We were beaten, right? And we're going to remember. So we're beating each other with soft leaves of lettuce. It's a little bit of fun, and it's a custom. I learned that and I said, as an Ashkenazic Jew, I never heard of that. But I've done that a few times with my kids when they were small, just to make it fun. Okay, keep going. So what does,
So what does a Babylonian Jew do when he goes to study in Jerusalem, or a Jew of Hebron when he goes to work in Alexandria? The lesson taught, excuse me, by the Mishnah is the visitor does not offend his host. If you're
okay, no,
Okay.
I'll get,
okay,
so
okay.
you be a gracious guest and you follow the cut. Now, we have arguments. We Reform Jews have our differences with some of our more traditional co-religionists. The American Jewish community is over 200 years old now. You know that. The oldest congregation in America, the oldest congregation that has been in continual operation, is a Reformed congregation in Charleston, South Carolina. It's called Beth Elohim. And you know what? American Jews adapted Judaism to American tastes. The tunes that we sing in a Reformed congregation, you'll hear very traditional things here at Temple Bethel. We love Eastern European traditions, but you will also hear a little jazz or a little rock, right? You will hear this. You'll hear a little show kind of melody to an ancient prayer. And we feel that's fine because, hey, we're living in America. And of course, some of the cultural aspects of America are going to be absorbed into Judaism. If I were in Marrakesh, Morocco, a lot of my tunes from my synagogue there would sound very Arabic, right? Very Middle Eastern. Why is that? Well, it's in the Middle East. It's in a Muslim country. Why wouldn't it? Eastern European music, the tunes that we sing, we brought with us from Poland and Russia and the Ukraine and Romania, and they sound Eastern European. They sound very Russian, very gypsy almost. A lot of our music from Eastern Europe. But why wouldn't it? Because we lived in those Slavic countries where violins were quite the thing, and accordions and all of that. So klezmer music sounds very similar to to Russian music. A lot of Reformed Judaism in Germany, some of those tunes sounded very operatic. The German Jews, because opera was so big in Germany, and when Jews acquired a little bit of culture, European culture, they insisted that their cantors have great operatic voices, right? But what's wrong with that? So sometimes, our super Orthodox friends go, hey, you got to keep the old tunes. You got to keep the old customs. And we say, yes, we should keep some of them, but we should also adapt. And we have our American Jewish customs that are part and parcel of American Judaism. Okay, on that second column on the right, Marilyn, would you read for us, if you are accustomed?
If you're accustomed to working half a day on the day of the Pesach Seder, but your hosts do not work at all on that day, take a holiday. If your mother said you must eat roast lamb on Pesach, but your hosts do not eat lamb, don't ask for lamb. Eat what they give you and say thank you.
Isn't that the proper thing to do? Even if mom said you always have to have matzah balls. What if they are not serving matzah balls? Okay, and they're serving matzah bride. I don't know why anybody would do that at a Seder. You don't say, hey, I always have matzo ball. No, you are a gracious guest. And you go, how nice you're serving matzah bride. Even if your mother said you always have to have matzah, matzo balls. Okay, keep going. See what Hillel says.
Hillel had said it sometime before, what you wouldn't want anyone to do to you, don't do to any fellow creature. The golden rule, in my opinion. Of course,
Yes.
this doesn't mean that if you are among robbers, you rob. If you are among evildoers, you do evil. But in the details of custom and practice, don't offend your neighbors by insisting that only your way is the right way. It is necessary to keep shalom even in someone else's bite. Rabbi, I have a question.
Yeah,
What we are reading is actually from the Talmud. This is
that's
the
right.
Talmud.
It's almost 2,000 years old.
Okay, now the Talmud is the interpretation of the Bible. Am I getting that right for once?
Well, it was, many of the laws were passed down when the Torah was passed down. So, so in a sense, you're right. In a sense, you're right. So we're getting some, now, you know,
But it's separate, excuse me for interrupting, that's confusing to me. So the Torah is one document, the Talmud is that plus other things. It is not the
Yes.
same as the Bible.
that's right. It's not the same as the Bible. It's outside the Bible. Now, you've been to Jewish homes where people have neatly sliced the challah, right? Before they do the motzi, and then you've been to homes where people tear off pieces, right?
Right.
So if you're
Right.
in a home, if you're in your home, if you neatly cut it, but you're visiting a place where the family sort of passes it around, and nowadays maybe you should wear gloves, rubber gloves, and you're tearing pieces, what you do the custom of that family. There are some places where people sit when they do a kiddush, other places they stand when they do a kiddush. In your home, you do it your way. And if I'm visiting you, I do it your way. In my home, I do it my way. And I wouldn't make a big deal out of it, but you should probably do it my way if you're in my home. And that's some wisdom. There's wisdom in being a gracious guest that is referred to here.
And that comes from the Bible, correct?
No, what the
No?
wisdom that we just have
Yeah.
it came from the Talmud.
Now, how is that connected to the Torah?
Well, according to tradition, when Moses received the written Torah, the one that's right behind me in the Aron Kodesh, he also got the laws, the oral Torah, right? These extra laws that are not
Written and oral.
in there. And he started passing. He passed the written Torah down as a written document. The oral Torah he passed down verbally from one generation, and then to the next generation, to the next generation, to
Right.
the next generation, until we were dispersed into exile. And in order to sort of keep some cohesion among the Jewish people scattered throughout the world, we decided that we needed to write it down. And that became the Talmud, the oral tradition. Does that make sense to you? So
So it's the oral part of what Moses received that became the Talmud.
That's right. That's what the tradition tells us.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you, Betty?
Yeah.
The difference between the Torah and the Talmud. Yeah.
But the rabbis must have gotten something from the Bible. There's no correlation, do unto others as they would do unto you, perhaps comes from the Bible. Am I making any sense?
Well,
No?
actually, that's from the Christian Bible.
Well, we have a similar.
Let me tell you
way
something.
of
Let me
living.
tell you something.
Go ahead.
Jesus said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. He learned it, but kind of reversed it. He learned it from Hillel, probably. Hillel said, what is hateful unto you, do not do to others. Hillel said, you know what?
The opposite side of the coin.
Hillel said, you can't always anticipate what pleases another person, right? Just because it pleases you doesn't mean that it will please the other person.
Good point. Right.
So,
right.
instead of foisting your likes or dislikes on another person, think about what you really dislike doing or having done to you, and make sure that you don't do it to anyone else. It's flipped around.
And that is from the Bible?
No, that's from Talmud.
That's no
Do not
connection.
what is hateful unto you, do not do unto your enemy. That's from the Talmud. That's from Rabbi Hillel. The do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's in the Christian tradition.
Wow.
It's kind of reversed. And the Christians say, well, why do you Jews make it into a negative? That do not. When we Christians say do, we say, sometimes you Christians get carried away in deciding what's good for other people, forceful baptisms, forcefully converting other people. And you thought it was good for their souls. We say no. You need to respect just the starting point in life, in relationships, is just don't do any harm, right?
That makes sense.
Don't do any harm. That's the basic law. Don't do any harm. That's where the Jew and I think what do they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Good intentions.
Yeah, you got to be careful about what you do for others. You got to know somebody very, very well and know their needs. And you certainly should try and help other people, but you need to be thoughtful about it, right? And you say to yourself, it's not what I want. I know this person likes strawberry preserves. I can't stand strawberries. I hate it. I hate I break out in hives if I have strawberry preserves. But I know she likes it, so I'll buy it for her. See, it's not about me. Just because I like it, it's about her. It's about him. It's about the other. And that is Talmud. That's wisdom from the Talmud.
Okay.
So you're getting your shot tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Which shot? Which shot you getting?
The Moderna.
Oh, the
That's what
Moderna.
I got. Is this the first one you're getting?
No, this is the second.
Oh, good
It's a
luck.
second.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Yeah. Oh, I am so glad. I just see on my telephone, Bernie Madoff died.
Yeah, I just heard that. Mordecai just told me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Kaddish.
Mhm.
Not going to say it. That man was a monster. He hurt so many people. Not going to say Kaddish. For a garden variety thief, I would say Kaddish.
But he was certainly not a garden variety.
No, he was, he stole from Hadassah. He stole from Elie Wiesel's foundation. Elie Wiesel lost a lot, I think, personal savings as well. There were thousands of people who were rendered destitute. Their savings, their pension funds were drained because of this monster. And he knew it, all along. He knew what he was doing. And So not going to say Kaddish. I'm not going to curse him, but I'm not going to say Kaddish. Now, there's someone in our congregation who knows Bernie Madoff's wife. I don't know whether she divorced him, but I know, and she's friends with her, and she's kind of destitute. Not our congregant, but Bernie Madoff's wife. I can't remember her name. The thought occurred to me today to call our congregant and to say, you know, maybe you need to comfort your friend, Mrs. Madoff. Apparently she may not. She was living in the lap of luxury, but she may have been fooling herself. She suffered. Apparently she never was accused of doing anything wrong. Maybe today, you know, she's probably, even though she knows her husband was a pretty bad guy, she may be hurting today, to put an arm around her today and say, do you want to talk? You know, that wouldn't be a bad thing to do. So, yeah. We're going to do 2 more lessons. We're going to do, I got a nice passage for us to deal with. Next week, that would be the 21st, and then on the 28th. And on the 28th, that's going to be the last time we're going, this year, this Jewish year, 5781, that we're going to have this formal Talmud class. We may get together for some special reason online for a little schmooze or something during the summer, but only two more times are we going to be doing Talmud. So I hope you've got something. I hope you're enjoying this and learning something.
I think
Good.
it's wonderful, Rabbi. Thank you, because the essence of what I'm getting out of here is that you have to be aware of other people and away from yourself. And in the situation that you're in, that's how you act. And that
Absolutely.
is very important to Judaism. So treat people the way that you would like them to treat you, and especially
Absolutely.
if you are a guest. So
And
that's
the
very
starting,
positive, very positive.
yeah, and the starting point is you don't always know what's good for the other person, but if you know that something is bad for you, don't do that. That's the starting point. Don't do any harm.
Right, that's
And
the
then as you get to know the person, maybe you can do some good. Okay, love you guys.
Love you. Stay well. Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye-bye,
And Mazel
Betty.
Tov in getting your second
Good
shot.
luck,
Thank you.
Betty.